I used to play this game, and it was when I was doing my phone prospecting, when I was doing my cold calls, that I would pretend in my mind that every hour that I made a call, I would pay myself $1,000, right? So I was like, $1,000 an hour. That sounds incredible. And when you're broke, the only thing you think about is not being broke, to be honest. So it was like a really solid game. It was something that it motivated me to be consistent, to be on the phone. I remember going through my head and it would be like 15 minutes. I was like, that's $250 in my account. Boom. A half hour, $500, 45 minutes. I'm at $750. Let's push for that hour. Let's push for that full $1,000 an hour. And I talked to a lot of the people in the TTP family, a lot of the coaching students that I have. And I say, imagine that I'm standing over your shoulder, and every hour that you are making calls, I give you $1,000, right? How long would you be on? What would you do? How would you find the gaps in your schedule to be able to fit that in? And everybody, without a doubt, would be like, oh, I would call like 100 hours a week. You would have to tear me off the phones. But the reality is, I put that in my brain. Every day I woke up and said two things, right? One, who's going to sign a contract today? That was number one, right? That mental intent to find those opportunities, find those people that are actually going to do business with you today. Number one was who's going to sign a contract today. Number two was I'm going to make $10,000 today. I remember just repeating it. It was like a mantra. It was like it was constantly being put in front of me. And then all of a sudden, I started calculating the amount of hours and the amount of income I was making when I was being proactive. When I was picking up the phone, it was over $1,200 an hour. It was like $1,250 an hour. And it just came, it just materialized. It's absolutely incredible. Those are the kind of mental games. Those are where you got to be focused. That's where you got to be lasered in on what are your goals and what are your expectations of the efforts that you're putting in, and how do you be sustainable with those efforts with so many distractions, so many different responsibilities going on in your life. $1,000 an hour. Think about it. If I was standing over and giving you $1,000 cash an hour, how much would you be on the phone? How much would all those other excuses go away if that was the case? I'm telling you, it can be, it will be. Stay proactive, stay optimistic, get out there and really make an impact in your community. All right? Welcome to the live show, the Real Estate Investing Live Show with your host, me, Brent Daniels, a.k.a. Mr. TTP, a.k.a. Mr. Talk to People, a.k.a. Captain Nemo. Nemo Deals. Huh? There it is. A.k.a. grown-up adult version of Dash from the Incredibles. We are going live. We are talking about how to calculate your offers today, how to come up with the right offer price. This is a sticking point for everybody when they're getting started out because, listen, not going through a lot of repetitions, not having a lot of experience negotiating with property owners and understanding what the value of these properties are and what you should offer is a big hurdle. And this is one of those things that as you get better, as you start putting in the reps, as you start getting those opportunities to negotiate with these property owners, you get better and better and better. But I want to skip you ahead of the line and show you the way that you can easily come up with an offer range and the exact offer price. All right, so let's go to this. I'm going to be referencing, the rehab budget calculator. Let's pop that up right now. I'm going to be referencing this a lot. We'll put this up as I'm talking. Make sure that you take a picture of this. Make sure that you're using this. I did adjust before we had an error. We had 60,000 for both 15 to 2000 to 2025. So that is adjusted and that is correct. And that is averages. Now listen, if you're in a really high price point, you can add 20% to all of these numbers if the price points are really high and you have to put in better fixtures. You have to have better tradesmen, those type of things. It's a bump of about 20%. Could be more depending, but that's a good average to go off of. So let's head over to the whiteboard. Let's check it out. All right. first thing first. This is your quick offer. All right, this is if you just, man, we fogged it up in here. Yeah. Holy cow. This is like, we're hotboxing in here. All right, so the quick offer here, all right? For properties that are $250,000 or above. So you're calling. Zillow, you press that Zillow button on your dialer, or you're having a conversation with the property owner and you Google the address as you're talking to them, as you should, so that you can see kind of what, you can have a really good, clear conversation about their actual property, the size of it, what it looks like, the age of it, those type of things, the repairs that it needs. When you're looking at Zillow and it's 250,000 or above, I want you to use 66%, literally just times that number by 0.66. Okay, this is just easy. Now we're gonna get more nitty gritty. We're gonna get more in the weeds on this, but this is a good jumping off point, especially if people are really, really pushing you. Give me your price. Give me your price. Give me your price. They're not giving up anything. You're asking them what they think their property's worth. You're asking them how much repairs do they think it needs. All of those things, and they're not really giving it to you. They still got that force field up. It's still real thick, right? They're not really playing along. They're not answering the questions. You can throw out 66%. This is going to get you really, really, really close to what the price is going to be. If it's under 250 to 100,000, I want you to throw out 50%. All right, of that Zillow price. All right, this is taking into account all the other factors that I'm going to show you in a second, but 250 to 100,000, boom, 50%. All right, and then if it's under 100,000, if it's 100,000 and below, 25%. Maybe to 30, but I want to keep you at 25 because I like you anchoring low to see what the opportunity is there. All right, so 66%. And by the way, as questions are coming up, put them in the comments. That's the point of the show. We go for 2 hours answering questions, all right? Answering questions with a lot of enthusiasm, so make sure that you put it in there, all right? So that's easy. Quick offer. Take a little snap pic of your on your phone, and we're rocking and rolling. If you can see it, it's still a little foggy in here, but here we go. This is for property. Well, let's start here. This is for properties that are under 200,000. Mike, I'm going to have you get your calculator out just so that we can do this quickly. All right, so look at this. This is the calculation. There's 4 steps to the first part to get what you are going to sell your deal at if you are doing a traditional wholesale transaction, all right, a wholesale deal. Right, these 4 things are the things that you need to focus on. Obviously, the ARV. What is the value of that property? You've run in comps. You've got a pretty good idea of what fixed up, totally beautiful, what that property sells for. So right there, let's say that this property goes for $150,000. Okay, right there. I'm just doing this as an example. All right, now closing costs. We're going to put in there. And I didn't put it in there off the bat because I wanted you to see me draw that, is 6%. That's going to stay fixed, 6%. This is for real estate agent fees. This is for the title and escrow fees. This is for closing attorney fees. This is for title insurance. All of the closing costs associated. Now listen, when you're cash buyer, these are all what your cash buyer is going to be looking at, these 4 right here. So when your cash buyer is calculating if this is a deal for them or not, 6% is going to be put in there, not just for the purchase, but also if they're selling this, if they're going to be flipping this property, this goes to that 6% mark because there's typically real estate agent fees. If they were just buying it to hold it, typically it's about 2% to 3% of the purchase price, but I like going a little bit higher to give us a buffer. All right, so 6% of this is what, $6,000, right?
9,000.
9,000. Geez, 9,000. I'm crazy. The profit. Now, listen. This is where people get confused. All right, because we've gone through this. We've gone through this a lot. But if this is your first time watching this, perfect. The profit here is always minimum going to be the minimum profit for properties under 200,000 is going to be 20,000. That's going to always be in there for any properties. I don't care if that property's worth 60,000 or 40,000 or whatever else. If somebody's going to take on a project, they're going to want to make this. If it's a flip, It's different if it's a rental, but if it's a flip property, which these are the properties I want you to go after. I want you to go after the roughest of the roughest, because this builds in bigger assignment fees for you with the same amount of effort. All right, we want to look at ugly properties. All right. Next, we've got renovation here. So the rehab renovation. Let's pop up that chart again, Matt, just so that everybody has it. Boom, fix and flip repair cost right here. Let's say that this property's under 1,500 square feet and it needs work. We're gonna minus 25,000. You know, you walk into the property and you're like, you know what, this needs work. This needs some work. It's not like, oh my gosh, but it's like, okay, we need to go in, we need to put appliances, we need to do paint, we need to do floors, we need to do fixtures and fans and light bulbs and door stops and door handles and all that. 25,000. Boom. What does that put us at, Mike? We got 150 minus 9 minus 20 minus 25,000.
96,000.
$96,000. 96,000. $96,000 is what you were going to sell that deal for to a cash buyer. All right. But what price do you offer the seller? Because now we have to build in our assignment fee. Let's put a minimum. We like doing minimums here of $10,000. Put it in your brain. I don't care your market. I don't care if your market's like the average is 3,000. I want 10,000. You're building too many skills to not get paid $10,000. You're providing too much value to not get $10,000 a deal. Got it? Boom. Offer price $86,000. That is what you offer to the property owner. This is the offer that you are, that's the most that you want to give for that property to the property owner. Okay. Now look back on this, right? Remember this one? Remember this? It's under 150. We're at 50%. It's pretty close. 50% of this would be 75,000. It's a nice jumping off point, but you can get to 86. All right. See how those kind of work together, hand in hand? Boom, you got it. You got it. You guys are fast. All right, ARV here, over 200,000. Same thing, but there's one main difference. All right, there's one main difference. Closing cost is still 6%. All right, that's ugly. Profit here now goes to 10% of the deal, not just a minimum of, not just 20,000. It goes to 10%. That's why I've done a lot of content saying take the ARV times 0.84. That's where it comes from. It comes from 6% for closing costs, 10% from profit. So let's say we're dealing with a property that's 400,000. All right, ARV 400,000. Closing costs in that, Mike, what is that, 24? All right, 24,000. I got my math going today. Woo! Profit. Profit 10% is 40,000, right? See how that's much more than that 20,000? It's because it's more risk. There's more risk taken down this deal, so there should be more reward. 10% is a minimum that people are looking for. Now, people argue with me all over the country, all over. My investors, my cash buyers want 30%. They want 20%. Yeah, if the properties are 75,000, absolutely. But I'm telling you, if you're in a market that is selling properties at 400,000, making 40,000 on one deal from fixing and flipping a property is what they're looking for. I'm telling you, if you're going way, way, way lower, you're losing out on deals. People will pay this, I'm telling you. And there you go. Let's go renovation. Let's put that fix and flip repair cost back up. Matt on the spot. Let's say that this one is, wow, this is bad, 2,000 square feet. It needs $75,000 in repairs. Mike, on the calculator.
261.
261. Boom. Now, if you're doing an assignment fee here and it's over 200,000, what do you think I expect? Do you think I want you to make 10,000 on this deal? Oh no, we go for a $20,000 minimum. Boom, right there. Okay, and that puts us at 241 for the offer price to the property owner. Got it? 20,000, 241. That's what we offer. They fix it up. They put all this money into it. They're making it look beautiful. They sell it for 400. Now let's look back again. Mike, what's 66% of 400? Let's see what 66% of 400 is.
264.
264. There you go. 264. A little bit higher, right? This one needed a little bit more work, so we put in 75. Make sure you run your calculations, but this is a decent, if they're willing to go 264 and then you see that property and it needs a lot of work, maybe they'll come down to that 241. All right? So that is, listen, right here to make it quick. This is quick and easy. Right here, over 200,000. You got it. Pause it. Take a picture. Keep this in your head. Boom, right here, under 200,000, and you are rolling. That is how you come up with an offer price for one that the property owner is going to go for, and two that you're going to be able to make what you want to make on your assignment fee. Boom. Is that how is that, Mike?
Good.
How are we looking? Good? All right. So that is it, guys. That is, why did this get so low? These guys are doing crazy things. Okay, that is it. That is how you calculate it. Again, one, you got to go back to comping those properties, right? Making sure that you get a good comp so that you get your ARV, and then you start, boom, you got closing costs. You've got the profit. You've got rehab. That is what your cash buyers are looking for. Those four things. What is it going to sell for? Do I believe in his ARV? Do I believe in, do I calculate, are we on the same page on what the estimate is for the rehab? And then the profits should align. They should align. Real pros in your market are looking for $20,000 minimum, under $200,000, and 10% above $200,000. Boom. Captain Nemo. All right. So that's it, guys. I am ready for your questions. Before we do that, I want to pop this up real quick. This is from Jimmy Smith from the TTP family. I love this right here. Your next 2 months are going to be better than the last 10 months. A blessing is coming. Amen. I love it, Jimmy. Thank you for posting that to the TTP private Facebook group this morning. Everybody was loving it. If you have not subscribed to this channel, make sure that you hit that subscribe button. We come out with the most unbelievable instruction, the most unbelievable tools, resources that you need to be successful in your real estate entrepreneurial journey. So make sure that you hit that subscribe and hit the notifications so that you know when the new videos are coming out, and it's every day, so you're gonna see me a lot. So get in there, subscribe, hit the alerts, and let's rock and roll. Also, guys, if you have any celebrations, we got a bell back here that needs to be rung. All right, so if you have closed a deal, if you put a deal under contract, we want to celebrate you, we want to recognize you. So make sure that you post in the comments the successes that you're having, because not only does it give a shout out here on the show, which is fantastic, but two, it lets people come and find you and squat up with you in your markets, and you can start collaborating on opportunities. And I'm telling you, people are doing deals in the comments section of this show. It's bananas. So make sure that you be brave, ask your questions, but also post your success. Cool. Good. Ready, Jesse?
Here we go.
Philip. Yep. I have been using the 70% and can't get a deal. Most people I talk to are using the 70% rule in Central Florida. It just depends, Philip. I mean, listen, that has been taught since the 70s, the 70% rule. And what he's referring to is 70% of the fixed up value minus repairs is what your cash buyers, or what you should be buying those properties for if you're a fix and flipper. It just depends on price point. Yes, that works if those price points are under $150,000. It's apples to apples to what I'm just telling you about here. But the profit minimum being $20,000. Now, if your cash buyers in Central Florida are not going after your deals, then I'd like to hear that. But if you can't get a deal because you're going that low, it's because you're going too low. Other people are going higher than you, Philip, and they're getting those deals. So use this technique and see how it changes your whole business, because you're going to be locking up deals for more than you thought you could and selling them. All right. And also, it's about building up your cash buyer database. If you've talked to 3 people and they're telling you 70%, it's a lot different than talking to 3,000 people that have whole different strategies. People that want to live in that neighborhood. People that want to add to their rental portfolio. People that are buying Airbnbs. There's a lot of different strategies, brother. A lot of different strategies. So don't let them pull you down by, I need 70% minus repairs, minus. I mean, it depends on the price point. But if those properties are over 200,000, they're bananas. That's crazy. Crazy. And this is happening a lot. I mean, this is in most markets. Brandon, what happens if the property does not have equity or is upside down? Are those the type of properties we can work on? Not for traditional wholesale, Brandon. Well, I'll tell you what, because this door's been cracked open. With subject to and with pace, Morby, and with some interesting things that you can do with taking over the loan. Some people love adding to their portfolio without having to go to the bank. They take over somebody's loan in a sub 2. So you could lock up a deal that has no equity as a subject to the existing financing and then assign that property to somebody else that wants it in their portfolio and make some profit there. But one, there's a lot more moving parts than a traditional wholesale deal. What I want you to focus on is properties that have motivation and they have equity, at least 30% equity. All right, because those are going to be the smoothest. Those are going to be in and out. Those are going to be the seller is now completely out of this deal. Their loan's not tied to it. They're not tied to that property forever and ever and ever because they got the loan on it. They're just cleanly out. In a traditional wholesale, that's where I want you to go after. And those are bigger deals. I mean, typically those are, 99% of the time, those are bigger deals than assigning a sub 2. But there is strategy there. If somebody is truly, truly, truly motivated and they don't have equity and they're willing to do a subject to, you can assign that to somebody else that puts it in their portfolio or keep it in your portfolio. But if you're like me, Brandon, you want to buy properties and walk in with a good amount of equity, 20, 30% equity on your own deals for your own portfolio and watch your wealth grow. That's how you watch it really, really go instead of having something that's upside down and that you have to wait years and years and years for debt payoff or for appreciation. And if they're upside down, I'd be curious to know what the appreciation is in that area. Probably not that high. So I like properties that I keep for myself in good school districts that have good appreciation and that are right around the median home sale price in that market, okay, if not above. Really important. The tenants are better, it's smoother, the property's more taken care of, and it appreciates higher. And when the market's popping like it is right now, when it's going through the roof, that's the first place that the appreciation really goes bananas. So just some advice for you there. And that was from Michael Jake, great investor out of Colorado Springs, tens of millions of dollars in wealth, and that's his strategy, and I love it. Sam J. RJ, yeah, okay. Will your calculations work in Los Angeles area? Yeah, absolutely. Hey, listen, it might even be higher, to be honest. I mean, here's the thing that's going on in those major markets like San Diego, Los Angeles, Seattle, Portland, Miami, New York. People are adding on to those properties, or they're building up if they can, or they're adding on to those properties, making them bigger. So they'll pay market value almost for these properties for the potential of the lot. So make sure that you're looking at and seeing what is the highest and best use of this piece of land in these major markets. Is it zoned for multifamily? Is it zoned single family with an additional living space on it? Is it zoned commercial? Right? All those things you want to look at. You can see all those things in PropStream. I can show you that when we start comping, where to look for that. But you can see that all in PropStream, ttpdata.com. And you can really go through and see the properties that have some potential. But yeah, if it's just a regular fix and flip, they're not adding anything, the numbers work. If it's something that has more potential, you can go even more aggressive. And have a conversation with your cash buyers and see what they're doing and what their strategy is in certain areas. Great question. People are just crushing in Los Angeles. It's crazy. Everybody's like, everybody's leaving California. There's still a beach. There's still a lot of industry. Crazy. Okay. JWM McCarter, 11. All right. Do you come across ugly houses that the owner still lives in? What do you do in those situations? Absolutely. I would say 75% of the time it's tired landlords or people that inherit the property. They're not living in it. It's a tenant or it's vacant that we're working with. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, we just bought 2 properties that I'm going to be doing. We're actually shooting it tomorrow morning with Matt and Daniel here. We're going to go out on location and shoot these kind of quick little flips that I'm doing. But both of them were owner occupied and they were just beat up. They were beat up and they couldn't take care of it anymore. And they just wanted to get rid of it and didn't want people coming through. I mean, if the camera could smell for you, if you could smell through the camera of these properties, they were rough. I mean, just a lot of pets, a lot of just wear and tear on it, a lot of not, keeping it clean and renovated and sanitized. So, yeah, people get out of there. And what we do typically is we do an escrow holdback. We will close on that deal, give them 30 days to move. Typically, owner-occupieds will need some time. They'll need some time to move, but also they're going to need the funds from the sale of their property to move into their next one. So the conversation that you want to be having with them is if you sell this property, where would you move to next? And if they say, oh, I'll move in with family, or, oh, I'm moving across the country, or I've already got somewhere to live, fantastic. You don't have to worry about putting together an escrow holdback. But if they're like, I don't know, I just I need to sell this and then I'll figure it out, then do a 2-week to 30-day where they live in there after they close. It's called a post-possession with an escrow holdback. So post-possession, right now, they don't own it anymore, so it's post them possessing this, and you hold back $5,000 to $10,000 with the title and escrow company, and they keep it there to make sure that these people are getting out on that date that they're supposed to be out. If they don't, they get docked $100 a day, okay? That's how you handle that. And we can get into doing maybe we should do a whole show on post-possession. Yeah. And cash for keys and all that stuff. Maybe that's what we'll do to really define that and give you some resources for the paperwork there. But most of the time, the title and escrow companies have a post-possession agreement that they prefer. So just ask them and get that, and then just get it signed up by the seller and move forward. And it solves a lot of problems. I'm telling you, we got these 2 deals because the other investors that they were talking to wouldn't let them stay in the property after they closed. Okay, that's why we got those deals. So we had this in our pocket. Obviously, I closed with our cash, and that was easy. But you could close with hard money financing or private money financing or whatever else, or just have that post-possession agreement for your cash buyer and let them know. And a lot of them are fine with having a post-possession because they want that property. Good question. We'll do a show on it. David Castillo, what do I do if the property has a mortgage on it? Great question, David. So here's the deal. As long as what is owed on the property is less than what you can offer on that property, it just gets paid off. So I don't care if it's a mortgage. I don't care if they have a judgment. I don't care if there's weird little liens on the property. Basically, what happens is when you turn that purchase agreement over to the title and escrow company, they are going to do a title search. They're going to find everything that is on title there, every lien that is on title there. They're going to put it all together, and then they're going to say, okay, seller, this is what your payoff is for this property, and this is what your proceeds are going to be once you pay all these things off based on the price. So if the mortgage is $105,000, David, make sure that you're above that, 110, 150, 200, whatever. It'll pay off that with the funds coming from your cash buyer. All right, as long as it's under there. All right, you don't want to get into short sale negotiations. Just don't do it, guys. It's not that market, and I'm telling you, it is. If you are not a pro at it, it'll suck up all of your efforts, all of your time, all of your brain space, everything. So don't mess with short sales right now. I'm telling you, it's a dogfight, and it's just not worth your time. So make sure that they have equity. So what you want to do, David, just tactically, is PropStream shows you the estimated equity in, you know what, Matt, will you just put this on here? Let me show them. I'll just do this one here from maybe last week or whatever. Look right here. See right here? Look at an echo for some reason again. Right here, estimated equity right here. So what they do, it's really interesting. In some states, if you're in a non-disclosure state, it's tougher, obviously, because they're not going to let you know. But it's going to show you how much is owed. It's going to give you an estimate. It's going to show you what that mortgage is and an estimate of what is owed on that property. So right here, there's your opportunity, estimated equity, boom, and you're rolling. So just make sure that there's a good amount of estimated equity in there. Okay? That's why everybody uses it. I'm telling you, I'm not just up here just selling PropStream. I use this I use this probably 20 times a day, Mike. I mean, I'm probably comping 20 to 30 properties around the country a day every time. And I'll say 95% of the time I do it with the app. That thing's bad. That thing is bad. Ooh, it's bad. It is so smooth. Because the beautiful thing is you can take a picture of your screen and send the comps over and have a good conversation with the coaching students. Anyway, it's phenomenal. So if you have whatever you got to do to get the $99 for PropStream, do it. Seriously. Yep. ttpdata.com. You get PropStream at ttpdata.com. Boom. And you get to try it for free. All right. What do we got? All right, Brendan. If you haven't seen the inside of a property, do you run the numbers prior to the appointment with low, medium, and high rehab cost budgets? So when you're on the appointment, you can try to get close right then. Yes, I make a lot of assumptions just based on experience, but I think that you can use the experience that I have to implement into your business right now. As you're having conversations with them, one of the great questions that you should be asking is, what remodeling have you done to the kitchen and bathrooms in the last 5 years? All right, this is a great question because that's the bulk typically of the costs for renovations, for updating. Okay, and then you can get into the mechanical parts. How's the roof? How's the electrical? How's the plumbing? Has anything been updated since 1912 when it was built in wherever, in Dayton, Ohio? Wherever these properties are, you got to see if there's been upgrades to it. And when you're kind of putting that all together, you're going to get a good idea. The other thing is, that's why when I look at a property, I always look at the street view. And I'm trying to get a good idea. I look at the satellite view. I look at the street view. I'm getting a pretty good story that it's telling me there based on the conversation I'm having with the property owner and based on the Google pictures. So we get really, really, really pretty close. The only thing, and this is semi-common around the country, is foundational repair. The actual foundation of the property, that can get trickier. Those could be those real big ticket items, the $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 ticket items. But for the most part, if there's no foundational issues, you can pretty much do a really good assumption based on that chart that I put up there. Put it up one more time, Matt, for us. Right here, the fix and flip repair cost. There you go. You could get pretty good on that. If you're having a conversation with them and they're like, yeah, you know, the tenant, he started a fire in the kitchen and the bathroom, they clogged it. It doesn't even have a toilet anymore. It's just a hole in the ground. No. You're like, oh my gosh, this is telling you the story of this property. And that goes into, wow, this is bad territory, right? But if it's just like, well, we haven't really done much to it, we do repairs over the years, it's kind of in rental shape, then get into the middle there. And if they're like, you know, it's in beautiful shape, we've taken good care of it, but it could use a little freshening up. That's what that top line is, brother.
And Brent, most of the time when you're looking at pictures online, have you found that the inside usually looks pretty much the same?
Great point, Mike. So a lot of times these properties have been listed and or they were bought during the downturn. And they were like bank-owned properties, and they've just been sitting, and people bought them so cheap that they didn't really put in too much repairs into the property, and they've been able to get by on it. But for the most part, a lot of those properties have not been completely renovated. And because you're clicking on that Zillow button when you're on the dialer, or you're Googling it if you're hand dialing, and you're looking at those pictures on the online, you can ask them, hey, listen, I'm looking at it online right now. It looks like the cabinets are original. It looks like the floors are tile. Is that still the same? Yes, it's pretty much exactly how it looks online. We hear that all the time. Thank you, Mike. Jordan, I live in a smaller town, 200K population. It's cool. But only a few hours from a town with 1 million plus population. Do I market in bigger town only, or can I market in both places? Both for sure. I would focus in 200K population. I mean, it just depends, Jordan. Some of these 200K population places are more expensive than the big cities. So it just depends. If it's a lower priced, then yeah, I want one eye looking towards that big market, and the other eye like a chameleon looking at your backyard and going after both. But test it, brother. I mean, this business is all about testing. The beautiful thing about being proactive and getting the phone numbers and calling them is you could test either market in like a half hour. You could get a list, export it, get it into batch skip tracing, get the phone numbers and calling them within 20 minutes, 30 minutes. I'm telling you. And so you could just be testing it out. So test both places. But I find, remember 80% of the time people are getting their first deals from driving for dollars. So getting into your own backyard and seeing the inventory of which properties are rough, it's like you're going shopping. Right? This is your inventory. This is your grocery store. Where are the ugliest houses in your community? Where are the people that need the most help in my community? And now, man, you're flowing. Now you're having conversations. Now you get to talk about being a neighbor and going to that ice cream place that everybody goes to, or that dinner place, or you went to whatever high school or whatever else. You get to have all these local connections that build that relationship and makes those deals really smooth and a lot easier. Did I tell you I just got a deal in Flagstaff because they liked my wife? They liked Erin. I've never taken her on an appointment. Erin said 5 things. Barely 5 things to this woman. And she's like, oh, I love her. We're going with them. We're going to go with them because I just love Erin. And I'm like, I'm taking you on everything. What am I doing? I'm here with 17 years experience. I'm like being cool about it. I know all the pre-qual. I've already having good conversations. And the only thing she talks about is Erin. I'll tell you what. Girls rock. Yeah. Girls rock. So hey, listen, for all those ladies out there, all those gals, all those females out there that are doing this work, I am telling you, you have a huge advantage. Go hard. Get it done. I'm telling you, huge advantage. You guys are so powerful. All right. A. Cortez, 915. Hello, Brent. What are good questions to get motivation out of a seller? Woo! First of all, okay, if you do not have the little cheat sheet on the 4 pillars of pre-qualifying every lead, you need to get that at ttpinsider.com. We've got the toolbox. We got all these things. Guys, we're going to be putting these banners up because I want you to get these resources for free and use the stuff that the pros actually use. All right? This is stuff every single day. But listen, TTP Insider, get the 4 pillars. Now, number 1, what we're looking for is the condition of the property. Number 2 is their timeline. And when you here's the thing. People like switching all these up and doing whatever. It's in order for a reason. Let me tell you this, A. Cortez. When you get the condition of the property and their timeline to sell that property, guess what naturally they tell you? The motivation. It naturally comes out. You know what I mean? If it's not apparent, if they're kind of like, yeah, it's not in great condition. Yeah, I could sell it whenever. Then you got to ask, well, why would you consider selling? Right? And they're like, well, I haven't. You called me. Move on. I'm telling you, that's not a lead. I'm telling you, if they're not giving you the motivation, if you're talking about what remodeling have you done in the last 5 years, and they're talking about the condition of this property, and okay, great. Well, typically it takes us 2 weeks to 30 days to get you your money for the property. Does that work for you? And they go, oh no, I need a little bit more time. Or they're like, I want to close this tomorrow. The faster you can close, the better. They're going to tell you why. They're going to tell you, well, the condition is not great. My tenants beat it up. I'm just done with it. I don't want to repair it. It seems like a huge hassle. I'm just checking my options on what I can get if I just sold it to an investor like you that'll give me cash. What's their motivation? Their motivation is their tenant beat it up and they don't want to deal with it, or they don't have the finances, the economics to be able to deal with that property, right? You're going to get that naturally out of there. If you have to really pull for their motivation, why do you want to sell? Why do you want to sell? Is there something that happened? Is there something that came up that makes you want to sell it right now? Why is right now a good time for you to sell? You can ask those things, but I think that you're going to get it naturally from asking about the condition and the timeline. I'm telling you, and it makes because there is opportunity when you ask that question to cause friction. Seriously. Why are you selling it? What do you mean, why am I selling it? I want to sell the property. That's my motivation. You know what I mean? Like it can cause some friction. That could be the sticking point where all of a sudden you're having a nice conversation and it turns into like an interrogation, and all of a sudden they start feeling a little bit, their spidey senses are going off and they're like, this is awkward. You can go for it. You can push it. If you have the right tone and you're likable and you're certain with the question, you could pretty much ask what you want. But I like getting the motivation from those two things. Is that clear?
Condition, you start there because that's the easiest thing to talk about, and that gets them talking, right? And the more they talk, the easier it's going to be. If motivation doesn't just come out, it's going to be easier to get there, much less price, right?
Yeah, that's it. The longer the conversation, the more that they're going to be open with you. And here's the thing. It is going to like totally blow your face off, Cortez, when you're talking to somebody and they're like, hey, listen, you give me $100,000 and it's yours. And you look at this thing on Zillow and it's like $250 or something. I'm telling you, it's inevitable. If you talk to enough people, you're going to get these huge opportunities where people do not care about the price. They just care about the problem being over. I am telling you, we're programmed. Oh, this is what the house values are. This is what it is. This is what the realtor says it is. This is what this website says it is. This is what the appraiser says it is. This is what the seller says it is. The only thing that determines the value of a piece of property is a ready, willing, and able buyer. That's it. That's for everything. That's for toothpaste. That's for gasoline. That's for shirts. That's for shoes. That's for lights. That's for cameras. That's for everything. It's what a buyer is willing to pay for it. That's it. So you determine the value, which is incredible. And you're going to find these big opportunities if you just get in front of a lot of people and you go with that servant's heart and you go to really solve their problems. You focus on that, you can't lose. You're just going to talk to too many people to lose. You're going to find those opportunities. So just keep going, keep going, keep going. $1,000 an hour, $1,000 an hour, $1,000 an hour. Awesome. Travis. Hi, Brent. What approximate size lead count does your funnel need to be consistently doing 1 to 2 deals per month? After my first deal, struggling for that momentum to kick in to have a legit business. Well, what I look at is it depends on where your leads are coming from, right? When you do marketing, when you spend money on marketing, it costs a lot, but those leads move faster. All right. So you need less in your pipeline to be able to close. So those are like real quick. And I wouldn't even look at it as how many leads do you have, because I think it's going to set you up to kind of be like, oh, I got 25 leads. I'm cool. Like I'm going to pull back on lead generation and I'm going to just focus on lead conversion and I'm going to make something happen. Well, the problem is if you stop the engine of lead generation, which is the thing pushing your business forward, then it's going to stop and start and stop and start and stop and start, which happens a lot with people when they do their first deals. You get excited. You're in there. You're watching that deal like a hawk. You're like, oh my gosh, I got to get this thing closed. All of a sudden your lead generation slips a little bit, right? And if you're not marketing because you don't want to spend that money and you're prospecting, you're being proactive out there, you're going out there and earning these leads, it starts slowing up. Right? Because the efforts that we take today pay off in 90 days when you are being proactive. It's different with marketing. Marketing is about 40 days, but it costs a heck of a lot more. It costs way more. All right. So what I would look at here, I'm getting to your answer in like the most roundabout way possible, but 20 hours 20 hours a call is a deal. 20 hours a call is a deal. And you just got to make sure that you're doing that consistently for those 90 days. All right? That's what's going to get you there. So I like the idea of leads, but Travis, I would rather you have 3 hot leads and close 2 of them than have 300 that you're like, nah, it might just be a retail lead. It might just be a referral to an agent lead. It just might be, they might want to sell, maybe not. I'm not really sure. So make sure that you're really, really aggressive on your pre-qualifying and really aggressive on your lead follow-up so that you can get people out of your pipeline so you can focus on those 2, 3, 4, 5 hot leads that you have. I bet you have that. I bet you have those hot leads. Stay laser focused on them. Who's going to sign a contract today? Who's going to sign a contract today? Who's going to sign a contract today? And get them converted. So the momentum kicks in day 91 of consistency. That's when the momentum kicks in. $1,000 an hour, Travis. Boom, 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 boom. Imagine that. $1,000 an hour. You got 20 hours to do a deal, and we average $20,000 on deals over 200. Woo! The math's just lining up. This is like dominoes. This is nice. We're doing it. It's the truth, though. That is the truth. Good question, Travis. But focus on the efforts. Don't focus on the amount of leads. You want to get leads, obviously, but you want to make sure that they're pre-qualified. Gwendolyn, all right. Just a shout out to Deal Machine. I'm 1 month into it and love it. Now I have my daughter and grandpups also into it also. Deal Machine has the best customer service department if you have any questions. Yeah, it absolutely does. I mean, listen, there is a reason why we use Deal Machine. I mean, there's Driving for Dollars with I don't know, 50 other companies. We use Deal Machine because, one, they give us the biggest discount for people that put in TTP as the code, as a coupon code. They give us a huge discount. But beyond that, they're the best. They are focused on this, and they just, it's the easiest to use. So, and they spend the most amount of money on their data for this app. That's just a fact. You could put together an app for like, I don't know, 30 grand. You know what I mean? And then just kind of run stuff to it and update it and do whatever and try to make a profit on it. These guys, this is their purpose in life, is to help people drive for dollars. I mean, it's bananas. It's not even close. So Deal Machine, use that TTP code. You get $9 off, which is their biggest discount. It's not huge, but it helps. Yeah, Gwendolyn, congratulations. Now, Gwendolyn, listen to me. I want that deal. You better be posted in the next couple shows. You better be posted that you got something under contract or sold. All right? Make a note of that. We're going to save your name, Gwendolyn. You're on the list. All right? That's right. I'm going to make sure. So you better be posted. Don't you just hide from us. All right, Addison. Hi, Brent. What is a good way to crunch a timeline on a motivated seller who has a family member in the property? Love this. And by the way, Addison, get out. Yeah, exactly. Just tell them to get out. No, Addison, so here's the thing. Our job is to remove all the obstacles that they have for making a decision and getting paid, getting out of this property. All right. So a lot of the times there's a lot of emotion going on here with parents and kids that if the person's living there for free, there's a lot of guilt if they have them move. So you need to put that guilt onto you. You need to have that conversation with the property owner. Say, hey, listen, I will communicate with them and tell them that this is the time. You want to take advantage of the market where it is right now. This is best for the entire family to sell right now during this market, and I'm going to be the one buying it, right? I'm going to be the one making it super smooth. So I'll have that conversation with your daughter. I'll help her find a new place, whether they need a rental agent, whether they need some listings to kind of go check out, whatever it is, whatever kind of situation that they need help with, you need to get them help. And then the question is, if you don't sell to me, if you don't sell the property to me and get done with this issue, what's going to happen? That's the most open-ended question of all time. What's going to happen? What is going to happen? So this is a classic if when or if what, right? If you don't do this, what's going to happen? If then, if you're not able to sell, if you don't sell it to me right now, then what is going to happen? I mean, that's a great question. And then just see. Some people just, they just can't get over that emotional hurdle. But I think that if you go and you solve that and you have a good conversation, and I think if the daughter knows it's an inevitability that they're going to have to move and it makes sense, then most people are reasonable. Some people aren't, but most people are reasonable. Most people don't evict their family, but it can get down to that. Go ahead, Mike.
I feel like you've said that these are some of your favorite deals.
Yeah. These are, because most people give up on these for their lead follow-up. They're like, they said 6 months, they said a year before they get their family member out. Okay, great. What happens in 6 months? What's magical about 6 months from now? Well, that's when, they're hopefully got a job and are on their feet. And okay, in 6 months, if they don't have that, then what are your plans? If then. That's a great. I used to play that game as well. I played the $1,000, and then I played the if-then game. I'd just write if-then on cards. If this, then that. Open-ended questions to really just dig in there. But for the most part, you taking on the role of mediator between the family is the deal. And if that, if this doesn't happen, then what are you going to do? Is a great, great, great question to ask, and just open it up. And you don't have to do it as a strategy to be like a crazy closer. How about you just ask that question as a human being to be really curious about what their plans are? Because you just told me that this is stressing out your entire life, and this is like an axe over your head. But you're also telling me that, you don't want to do anything because of this situation. So how can I help, right? You got to dig in there and find that. And when you do find that, the ability to help, that's when you make those big deals like Mike's talking about. Good? Awesome. Soulmane. All right. Hey, Brent. Me again, Soulmane. Yep. I need help on a potential deal. This one's in Georgia. And seller wants 110, but negotiable. Property is in livable condition. All right, let's take a look at this. Let's pop into PropStream here. We've got 7126 Spillers Drive. There you are. Okay, let's take a look at this. Let's see what we got. Okay. So, look at this. This looks... okay, good. So this was sold. This is what I love looking at. Okay. For some reason, this isn't populating. I don't know why. I wonder, Daniel, if this is because we're on the Safari instead of Chrome, but we'll play around with that. Anyway, 3 beds, 1 bath. Okay. Good sized lot, 1960. They've owned it 3 years. All right. This is a 70. They bought it for $60,000. He wants to double his investment. All right. So this isn't going to come. So we're going to have to get this on Google. So anytime that for some reason, if it's not popping up in on your browser, search the Google and it should pop up in Zillow. So here we are. And we're taking a look. Okay, good. Looks like we don't have as many pictures here, but it looks like it's a lot cleaner. It's got a Zestimate of $160,000. I like that. But $160,000, if we go 50%, I'm at like $80,000 on this, And I'm just looking at this. It might be worth more, but if it's at $160,000, I'm going to probably be in that $80,000 range. Let's get back to PropStream, and we're going to go comparables. Well, first, that's the issue right here. I want to look at where this is at in the lot. Okay, great. Look, very traditional lot here, which is fantastic. It's in the middle of a neighborhood. There's no noise restrictions. I don't see a railroad behind it. I would assume it's probably not in the flight of a bunch of planes. Let's just make sure. No, I don't see an airport. Fantastic. I'm looking at this. It looks like it's got a lot of landscape. Okay, look, it looks pretty clean. Roof looks a little bit older. So it's in livable condition, but it's not upgraded. All right. So now what that does is that gives us the ability. Now right here, they've got an average price of $1 million. Okay. They're pulling crazy, algorithm. So I'm going to go to the neighbors here first when I'm comping this. okay? Because I want to know what is going on specifically with the 100 properties that surround this property. All right, and I'm looking here. Okay, look at this. I've got a 1,700 square foot that went for 100,000 in the neighborhood. I got 125, 100, 147.9, and that was out of the neighborhood. What's going on with this 1,700 square foot guy? All right, remember Zillow has this at 160,000. This dude bought it for 60,000 3 years ago. Has it doubled in value? He thinks so. I do not. Man, that was dramatic. That was just dramatic. I'm being dramatic today. Look at this. This is 1,700 square feet. Got the Georgia Bulldogs, brick. You've got the. This looks clean. Let's see if we've got some good pictures of it here. If this will pull up, hopefully. Where are you? 100,000. Hold on. Let me go to the details here and see if we can get the pictures of what this looks like. Now this one again, MLS details here. 3, 1.5, cute home, has larger room, can be converted. Not much going on here with the description, but it is a 2-bathroom. It was on the market for 46 days at $99,900. Nobody bought it. Okay? Is this telling us a story? This is telling me a story, right? This is telling me that this property probably needs a lot of repairs. They had it on the market for 99. It sold for 100,000. It's, almost 1,000 square feet bigger than ours. Let's see if we can get any kind of idea of pictures on Zillow. And guys, I'm just walking through this. This is just the thought pattern. So as you're watching this, like, imagine that you're comping as well. Watching me comp is like a rep for you. You know what I mean? Lakeview, here we go. Okay, it's got some sort of crazy thing here, which I assume is them saying, hey, this property has potential. Right? They're not going to do it themselves, but it's got potential. So we don't have a lot of pictures to go off of here. We kind of we'll just say that that's a complete rehab. Ours is in livable shape, but this dude wants 110,000, right? Neighbor sold for 100. Let's see if we can get this other one on Lakeview. That's a 3-1 that sold for 125. Man alive. I think that I think we need to use Chrome on this. We'll get that dialed in. Okay, there's no other pictures here. This one went for 125, 1,400 square feet bigger. It's a red brick house. It looks in good shape. I'm like at 70, 80 on this thing. I mean, this guy bought it for 60,000, probably market value 3 years ago for its condition, and so I would be at 70, 80,000. I think that you've got, once this thing's fixed up, let me just let's see if we got some comparables in the area that would pump this thing up. Oh, this one sold for $3 million. That's a good comp. You've got a 3-2 here. This is interesting. 147. Okay, there's a little bit bigger, but it has an extra bedroom here. Let's take a look at what this thing looks like. Oh, beautiful. Oh, look at you. Oh, get it. Oh, looking good. Look at that. You got the pots, the decorative pots. That's nice. That is nice. I like that. Yeah. So this one went for 150, right? Cleaned up, but it's got an extra bedroom. So I think that this, yours, this is 147.5, 3.2. Pretty close here. You can see. It's up here. What's number 2 here? Yeah, 135. Yeah, I think we're at like a 130, 135 on that. What do you guys think? Yeah? You guys like it?
Any pictures of that property? The only thing I can find is it does have hardwood in it.
Okay. Okay. So I would say 135. I think that this dude's basically trying to get retail minus the cost for a real estate agent. So if we're at 135, I'd be at like 70, maybe 67 on this. So I'd give him $7,000 more than he bought it for 3 years ago for that deal, which he probably, isn't going to like. But, hey, you got to go for it. All right? So, I mean, that's where I'd be at. Yep. If he's negotiable, throw out 70. Throw out 70, see what he says. Throw out 65, see what he says. But I think right there, selling that thing at about 80, 85 on a deal is where it's at on to your cash buyer. Nice. Steve. Hey, Brent, do we have any no celebrations yet? Come on, people. If you've got a deal, if you've locked up a deal, make sure that you post it to this so that we can celebrate you. Steve. Hey, Brent, I have a few properties that I'm thinking about door knocking. How should I go about it? Also, thinking about leaving some notes on some vacant properties. What should the note say? Steve, number one thing, remove that word think. The most wealthy real estate entrepreneurs don't think at all. They just do it. So first of all, if you've got those doors, go hit those doors today, Steve. And if they're not there, put on just go get like a one of those sticky Post-it notes, one of the kind of longer ones that has the lines on it. They're like this tall, and just put call me, Steve, and your number. That's it. Call me, Steve, and your number, and test that, and just test different things. Call me about the house, Steve. But I like just call me. People are like, what? Steve who? Is this Steve Bitter that I was in Boy Scouts with in 6th grade? Is this Steve Trang? Real estate disruptors. So yeah, I would just keep it simple, but don't think about it, Steve. Go. Take that action. And just as you're door knocking, $1,000 an hour, door knocking, $1,000 an hour, door knocking. That's what I'm earning. I've been out 15 minutes. It's $250. A half hour, that's $500. Build that up. And then all of a sudden, you're going to start getting a lot of that consistency, and it's going to snowball. Awesome. Michael, there he is. Hi, Brent. I'm wondering if you have rehab estimates change a bit if a septic tank is involved. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. In most areas, I'll speak on Arizona, and I think this is the same around the country, but somebody's going to have to fact check me on this. But most of the time, the seller is responsible for the inspection and of the septic tank. Now, a lot of times they don't want to pay for that, but they're supposed to. So you could say legally you have to, but if they're like, well, then I'm not selling it. You're like, okay, well then, get it inspected. You're going to want to get that because it's a big ticket item if it needs to be repaired or replaced. So one, get the information about the septic tank. And two, I would definitely order up a septic inspection. And then if it needs a whole new one, it's just negotiating. You're going to have that inspection. Okay, you're going to know. Or if it's just a smoking hot deal, and you're like, worst case scenario, the septic tank needs to be removed and replaced, and it's going to cost $15,000 to $20,000 to $30,000 to spend, depending on the size of it and the technology of it. Then just budget that in, do worst case, and then just hit your numbers that way. Or if they're telling you, hey, listen, you need to do the septic, and you need to do this, and you need to do that, great. Then just reduce that in your price and. I would just Google in your area average cost to rehab or average cost to replace a septic tank. Awesome. Aaron. Hey, look at you, Aaron. June 25th, I closed my third deal, $3,581. Not big, but it's good progress. That's right, Aaron. Listen, it's just proof. It's just that's your receipt of providing that value. Provide it. Get that up to 10,000. Congratulations. Yeah. Here we go. First sell of the day. It's like a snake. Awesome job, Aaron. Congratulations. That is phenomenal. Guys, squat up with Aaron. Find out where he is living. He's closed 3 deals. If you haven't closed any deals, these are the people you need to connect with. These are the people you need to start collaborating and having a relationship with. Okay? Awesome. From IG, what if you're looking at a house that could be considered a historical landmark? Ooh, okay. Okay, IG. Who's it from? Do we have a name? That's great. Anyway, listen, there's a curveball. I love this. So historic, there's a lot to be considered there. Because there are going to be restrictions on what can be done to the property typically. So, Tim, what I would do is a couple different things. One, I think it's worth it to everybody if it's open and if you feel safe about it to go into the historic preservation office or the historic office or the historic landmark, whatever, whoever is managing that, have a conversation with them and just ask, what are some of the restrictions on repairing and improving and expanding these properties? It gives you a good idea. But second, you need to compare historic properties to historic properties. That's why, you've got PropStream there. Use that neighbors button because it's going to pull all those other ones that are historic properties. If it's a neighborhood, if it's a one-off, it gets a little bit goofy because a lot of those sellers think that it's worth a lot more than it is. And sometimes it is, but for the most part, if it needs a lot of renovation, needs a lot of love, and it needs like very specific craftsmen, very specific contracting work, it costs a lot. So you have to build that into it. So one, you want to be looking for those historic properties that are similar to it. And two, if it needs a lot of work, that fix and flip budget, I would probably double what I have on there. Because it gets real specific when you have to work with certain windows and you have to work with certain flooring and certain plumbing and certain, aesthetics to it. And people want these properties go for more. So I would double that. Awesome. Antonio, there he is. I'm coming across a lot of fixer properties that have a reverse mortgage on them. Nope. They already got rid of their equity, buddy. So don't go after reverse mortgages. That is a sticky deal. You just don't mess with it. They've already sold their equity to the bank, and the bank just pays them every month and gives them gives them their living expenses. So I would get rid of them. Good question. Because people run across those and they're like, oh, I got the greatest deal. They already sold it. It's kind of like, I look at it as kind of like a bank-owned property. You know what I mean? Bank doesn't care. They're not going to negotiate with you. Jason Harris, how do you deploy a anchor price without angering the seller or losing control of the conversation? Well, first of all, I never think that, Jason. I'm going to throw something out there with the assumption that they're going to take it. Right? And if it is too low, then you need to get a price out of them. If they get angry at your offer, what's the likelihood that they want to sell to you at a discount? Like if they're 10 grand off of what I just put on the board here on anchoring prices, that's 66, 50, and 25%. And by the way, I know that I've done that before with just 200. I upped that to 250. The percentages so that there's more, so that you're going lower with your offers, just to take into account some of the labor and construction costs that's going on right now and the price points that are going on right now. So I adjusted that from 200 to 250 if you were wondering. But Jason, great. If it angers them, then they're not leads, and then they're gone and I'm working with somebody else. Or they give me their bottom line. But most people get angry not with the number, but by the delivery of that number. If you're kind of going all over the place, if you're not being certain and likable with the offer and giving it to them, if you're not telling them it looks like homes neighbors around you, similar to your house, similar condition, are selling for $135,000. Is that kind of the range you were thinking? What? I want 230. Oh, if you, who's selling property? That's crazy. What's going on? These tell you things, but that's why you can take a shot across the bow talking to them about the comparables. You don't have to be like, 120 for your house. And they're like, what? Properties similar to yours are selling for around this price. Go ahead, Mike.
So we did a live in June or July on pulling the price out of the seller. And usually, Brent, I think you'll try to pull it out in 2 or 3 different ways.
Yep.
And anchoring is kind of a last ditch effort, right?
Yep. Yeah. I mean, if you listen, in real life, yes. In theory, in real life, there's aggressive sellers that are just like, I've had 5 calls. Tell me your price. How much are you going to give me? How much are you going to give me? Those type of things. And 99% of the times, those aren't anybody that are going to do business with us. Any of us. right? These are people that should try to put it on the market and be disappointed because they can't sell it for the price that they want and then come back down, and then we can catch them again and see if they're realistic. But if they're not realistic, we move on. There's too many people that will trade potential equity in their house for speed and convenience to mess around with people that won't trade potential equity for speed and convenience. There's too many people. I'm telling you. It is a conveyor belt of opportunities, so do not waste your time with people that'll never do business with you. It doesn't make you a better professional. It doesn't make you a better salesperson. It doesn't make you a better closer to be able to close somebody on a deal that's not a deal, or to follow up with somebody that is not going to agree with the price and terms and you when you're negotiating. So get rid of them. Gone. See you later. We're moving on. There's too many other people we got to help out. Like we can't be putting all of our resources in this like little harbor of people that won't do business with us. We got a whole ocean out there of opportunities. We're stuck in this little harbor of people that are like, well, you're going to do business my way, see? And we're like, what? No, we're going to go out here. We're going to go out here. We're going to be in control of this. Okay. And listen, the people that are the most motivated need you to control this. They need you to walk them through this and help them out. That's what we're looking for. We're not looking for the people that just want to sell because it's, if it's convenient and the price is right. That's not motivation. Madeleine, there we go. After 7 months, I finally have a property under contract. ARV 400 to 385, rehab 65K, offer 198, close on 9/22/21. TTP, TTP, TTP. There you go. I love it. I love it. I love it. Did she get it under at 198? What are you going to sell this thing for?
That's like a $60,000 deal.
This is a $60,000 deal.
Yeah.
After six, yeah. Well, Madeline, there you go. Come on. Look at that cutie little kissy face. That's great. I love it. TTP, baby. I'm serious. If you have enough quality conversations, you cannot lose. Our job is to go up to strangers that have distressed properties and solve their problems. They are not going to reach out with you without significant marketing budget. So if you want to keep your profits, and or if you don't have the finances to throw in multiple thousands of dollars for a deal, you have to be proactive. You have to go out there and either knock on the doors, get referrals from other people that find these properties, or you've got to pick up the phone and call them. That's what it is. That's all it is. And look at Madeline. 7 months. And I'm sure she's got a million other things that she's got on her plate, a million other responsibilities. She's got this big, massive deal. 400K ARV, she locked it up at 198. Come on. Come on. Jeez, I'll tell you what. Beto, 420. Nice. Do we go after LLC government-owned properties? LLCs are fine. Government-owned, I do not. Government-owned, that's a whole process. That's a whole thing. Are they going to release it? Are they not going to release it? Is it in the budget report? Do they need some more funding for this and that and everything else? Do they have every independent contract, every agent do what's called a BPO, a broker price opinion, on what they think that property should sell for, and then they put it on the market. There's no like, hey, I know the guy down that manages the government properties, and he's a buddy of mine, and I can buy properties at 50 cents on the dollar. That would be very illegal and not long-lasting. So if it's a good deal that they put on the market, maybe, but stay away from government properties because they don't care. LLCs do. LLCs are fine. And beautiful thing, batchskiptracing.com can get you those numbers for LLCs. It's about 30-40% of the addresses that you put in, they'll be able to get you that back, but it's better than nothing, and it's better than doing a lot of homework. But if there's a smoking hot property that's in really rough condition and it's owned by an LLC, then go into your corporation commission for your county or your state, probably your state, and then and find out who the managing member is, what their address is, skip trace them, give them a call. Boom. He's got his Chrysler 300 just low. Look at that thing. That thing is cruising. Nice. Love it. Josh, I get calls back while I cold call. Should I answer them? No. When I do, it seems to, yes, exactly, Josh. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful question here. And a couple different things are happening here, Josh, because one, you're getting calls back because your caller ID is your phone number that you're calling from, is your phone, right? That's why I love Batch Dialer. It is using a different caller ID, so those you're not getting blown up all the time. Same with any of the other dialers. So you don't want to be answering those because now you're on your back foot. You don't know which property they're calling about. They don't even know why you called unless you left a voicemail, which I don't suggest doing anyway. I suggest you just calling and catching people live, and that's your motion, and that keeps you going. Because if you start stopping and pausing and going back and answering and doing these things, it really clogs up the system. And I want you talking to as many people as possible. Awesome. I want to do, we've been standing here a little bit long. I want to go back to the whiteboard. This is just a random thing because we're doing more flips. And I think as you progress in this business, you go from just traditional wholesale to closing. You keep some of these properties, start building your portfolio, but also there's opportunities to do a quick little rehab or to just get into flips in general, and you get bigger spreads from these. Both of these deals, I've got one in a city called El Mirage that I think we're making like 90 on, maybe a little bit more, and then the other one, we're making 130 on. So, but this is just some tips when it comes to contractors, real quick. All right. So we get rid of the fatigue of just look. I love this. Okay, listen to me. When it comes to contractors, these are the three things: the quality of the work, the cost or the price that it costs you to get that work done, and the speed. Okay. How fast do they get it done? Quality, cost, speed, timing. You only get to pick two. I am telling you. You want this thing done fast and you want beautiful quality, you're going to be paying that cost. All right? You're on a budget. You want to keep that budget low, but you want it to be fast. They're going to cut some corners. It's not going to be as great. All right? So you guys get it. So when it comes to a contractor, you got to decide what you're gonna trade here. All right. If you want to go and get those lower budgets because you're not a contractor yourself, just remember you're going to sacrifice either speed or the quality. Typically, in my opinion, in my experience, and Mike can account for this because Mike and I have done 60, 70 flips together. We had good quality and good cost, but it took a while. It would take a while. They just don't have their act together, so they can cut costs, and they use the same crews, and that crew's doing something over here and there and whatever else. So you get two, all right? And what I'm saying here is don't get frustrated if you go with that low bid and it's still good quality, they're still doing good work if it takes long. Or if you go with that low bid and they do it fast, but it's just real low quality, all right? So that is important to understand as you're doing flips. That's something to put into your mind. If you're nowhere near that, you're just getting into real estate, you're just doing some wholesale deals, you're building that happy, healthy, heavy bank account, you're going to get to the point where you're going to be doing flips. So keep it in your mind. You get to pick two out of those three. And so just be aware of that so that you can set expectations for yourself and your company and save a lot of heartburn. All right? Good. Oh, Matt Barry, come on. Look at you. Locked up a deal on Saturday, doing a lease back on it. That's what I'm talking about, Matt. Thank you for showing up. That's fantastic. Now, Matt, bro, it's Wednesday. Like, let's get that deal sold. And if you do have it sold, put in the comments here how much you're making on that. But get that thing done, all right? Get that thing sold and off your plate and move on to the next deal. That's how you start building that consistency and start getting those closings every single week. All right? Awesome. How's our internet doing? Good? Seems good. All right. Omar, I'm getting my caller list from Deal Machine. Oh, no. Okay, well, hold on. And when I talk to people on the list, they say to stop calling them. Should I move, market, or stay and just move on to the next home? Well, a couple of things, Omar. Make sure that you take Deal Machine's list, export it on your computer, and get it batch skip tracing for the numbers. All right? I love Deal Machine, but their skip tracing is not like batch skip. That's all batch skip does. Deal Machine, all they do is the driving for dollars. But they also have phone numbers. Don't fall into the trap. Oftentimes, it's not as accurate as batch skip tracing. So one, that's going to set you apart. If you're already doing that, Omar, then make sure that you just keep going. I mean, just keep going. I mean, people tell me that all the time, and then hour 8 of calling, they get a $30,000 deal. So it seems like a lot as you're starting and getting going, that when you're calling for an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours and people keep telling you the same things over and over and over, that you're like, oh my gosh, should I switch it up? No, stay focused. Make sure you're getting the best data that you can and just keep going through. Those are properties. They only have 2 choices. If they're totally run down, they either have to fix it up themselves, which most of them don't have the financial capabilities to do that, or they need to sell to a cash buyer. You. So stay on them, stay in front of them. Don't get discouraged. Optimism. You've got this. You need to have, I told this to my on my support call last night. You need to have blind faith, absolute blind faith, that if you talk to enough people, you'll be successful. You need to have blind faith that if you build an organization that is proactively talking to distressed property owners, you are going to have an incredible business that opens up all the opportunities that you want. All of it. All of it. I'm telling you. You just have to have that faith and just keep going and going and going and stay focused on that path. Get going. That 90 days. I'm telling you, the word, I had this conversation this morning, the word sustainable is the most important for that first 90 days, that you're taking serious, consistent action, sustainable action, sustainable efforts, sustainable schedule. Sustainable. It has to fit into your life. If you're throwing all your life over here, all this stuff that you usually do, and you're going hard at this thing, and you expect this thing to pop in 2-3 weeks, you're going to have some big problems. You're going to have a lot of heartbreak. You're going to have a lot of internal things swelling around your head saying, this doesn't work. This is too congested. There's too many people. There's no opportunities. Nobody wants to work with me. All of these thoughts that needs to be plunged out of your brain, and just stay focused with that blind faith that if you talk to enough people, you're going to be successful. And everything that you want from a financial standpoint is going to be available to you if you solve enough people's problems. And we get those opportunities by having those conversations. Hit me, Mike.
So, Brent, what would be a good reason why to switch markets?
I like when you're expanding, when you run out, when you want to, if you want to be doing more business in your market, you've only got a certain amount of distressed properties and you've been through it, you need to start expanding. But you can find deals in every single market if you're really diligent and you're really consistent. Yeah. So I like expanding when it's time to expand. Some people just like other markets. Some people just like going into places that they're interested in, or they have family in, or that they're from, but they don't live there. That's fine. I don't care if you want to do it virtually. I don't care if you want to, expand into other markets because you like the feel of it. Oh, there we go. Come on, Matt. 20K. What do we got for Matt? Give me some celebration, Mike. That's great. That's awesome, Matt. Get that sold. I want to hear you. I want to see you post it next week. A celebration on that 20K. All right. Oh, and you get a magical spell from Mike Mahoney. There you go. That's funny. Awesome job, Matt. Beto, how do you respond when they say, how did you come up with that price? Yeah, I mean, there's a couple different things that you can do there. It just depends on if they want to actually see the comparables. But you just say, based on the condition of the property and based on the return that we're looking to get from the investment, this is the price that we'd have to get. Based on what these other properties are selling for, based on what we think we can sell it for when it's totally fixed up, this is the price that we'd have to get it at. Yeah. But honestly, most of the time, if they're asking you how did you come up with that price, you want to answer them, okay, and then ask them the question. So how did you come up with that price? Well, just based on what we think it will sell for once it's totally fixed up and how much it'll cost to fix it up. This is the price that we're willing to offer you. Does that make sense? Is it a price that you're willing to work with? And they're like, no, I want $50K more. Yes, it seems reasonable. I just wanted to know how you came up with that. Okay, great. So, some people ask that question just because they want to know if you're serious. They're kind of gauging your seriousness. They're like, is this a real person that's going to work with me? Or are they just kind of casting a wide net and hoping to get some things here and there? Are they the actual decision makers? Are they going to pass me off to somebody else? What's that process look like? All those things. So I don't mind that question, but usually it comes up when people want more than what you're willing to offer. Chris JB, what do you say when buyers ask, how much are you making? $1 million. That's a classic Pace Morby answer. No, first of all, we don't get that question a lot. Honestly, just because of our reputation for getting big deals, people kind of expect that at this point. But as you're getting started out, if they go, well, what are you making on it? I would say, why does that matter? Yeah, I mean, I would just say, or just hit them with it. We negotiated like crazy on this thing. This is a really big deal. If it's going to be a problem for you, what we're making, I get it. We'll sell it to somebody else. So I don't care. Just you're going to sell it to somebody else. Not a problem. Man, I don't even know. We negotiated really hard on this. Does it matter to you? Does the price make sense to you at that price or no? I got a couple other people that are looking at it. So if you'd love to, I'd love to work with you. But if this isn't the property for you, that's fine. Pull back, pull back, pull back. Healthy tension, healthy tension, healthy tension. You can only have healthy tension when you have a lot of buyers, right? When you have a lot of people coming at it. So you always want to let them know that if they don't want to take it, that's fine. You'll sell it to somebody else. But if you're their only buyer, this usually comes when you become the cash buyer employee for this investor, where they're like, hey, what do you got? Hey, what do you got? Hey, let's go to lunch. Hey, what's going on? Hey, let's go get happy hour. Hey, I'm going to this thing. You want to go to the basketball game with me? Hey, you want to do this? Oh, let's get buddy. Hey, what do you got? What do you got? What do you got? What do you got? And then you go, hey, I got this deal at 120. Well, what are you making on it? What? Come on, man. Like, no. Don't play that game. So if you have a lot of buyers, typically they're not going to mess with you. If you've got another person that's going to buy that property, then move on to those people. Because if the numbers make sense, the numbers make sense, Chris. So, and if you're hallucinating this question coming up, which listen, that's not like a knock on you. I hallucinate all day long. We all do. We all hallucinate crazy things that never happen. But if that's like the main thing and you're not actually experiencing this, then don't think that going into these negotiations, because it affects the way that you have that certainty about the price that you're putting out to your cash buyers. So the way that you approach with your cash buyers is, this is like the best deal of the week. This is the best deal that you're going to see all week. If you want it, great. If not, somebody's going to see the potential. Yep. My G, Right Investments One. I'm targeting on market listings. Okay? Haven't locked up anything. Do you think off-market listing is a faster approach to your first deal? Listen. I'm going to bring in this kid, Ryan Zolan, that does all of his deals. Well, a lot of his deals off of the MLS, but he's got a whole system in place for that. What I would say is, without a doubt, you're going to get bigger deals and better deals off market and faster, for sure. Because here's the thing, like, Once it hits the market, if you're in a really popular area, there's going to be 1,000 offers on this thing. Okay? So what are you going to do? I mean, the number one thing that reduces the amount of money you make on a deal is the competition, is another offer. Another offer coming at it and you guys bidding it up. And that's fine. That's healthy. That's a regular market. You know? Go for it. But you put it on the market, now it's exposed to literally the world, because it's on the World Wide Web. Literally, everybody can see it. Now, if you find a property that's off market and nobody else is speaking with this property owner, guess what? You get the best deal. So, I mean, you could go on market listings and try to get them, reduce price, and just see if you're hitting that nexus of them totally motivated and willing to take a huge reduction on a price. But most of the people that get the deals on market listings are doing flips themselves, closing it and doing flips themselves to make up for it. And they're riding the market, because you close on a deal 3 months later, it's worth 20 grand more in our market, at least. And it makes sense. But yeah, we go for off market, especially when you're getting started. Good question. Jose, Brent, what do you like to say in follow-up calls? I like just talking to him, Jose. You know, just reiterate. You know, we've got these lead sheets and TTP Insider. This is cool. We took the lead sheet and made it into it's like a, you know, what are these things called? A notepad. Yeah, that's what it's called. Woo! All right. Full cylinders today. Yeah, we get the master lead sheet. So I'm just taking notes here, and I'm writing on here and just, you know, getting little things about the property and about the person, and just writing notes on it, and I'm just having a conversation. So you can get these this master lead sheet, TTP Insider. Definitely check that out. But yeah, I'm just talking to them, just seeing what their timeline, picking up where the conversation last left off. And remember, follow-up is 80% a text message and a voicemail. 20% of the time they're going to pick up, but 80% of the time you are just going to be leaving a voicemail. All right? Somebody's got, we haven't had one question about ghosting. We haven't had one question. Anybody out there having problems with ghosting? If you do, please let me know. We have something special for you. It's a little bit frightening, but if you have a question about ghosting, let me know. All right, here we go. Glenn, thanks to TTP, finally got a property under contract with somebody that I had to follow up with for a year, and it was somebody's dead lead. I got it for $610,000. ARV's $1 million, selling it for $850 on the market right now. Glenn, you absolute animal. I love you. Holy cow. This is what I'm talking about. Big, massive deals. Big deals. Glenn doesn't mess around. Glenn's not messing around with these $55K manufactured homes on a lot. Glenn's going after those $1 million properties, selling it at $850. Somebody's getting a great deal at $850. I'd love to buy $1 million property at $850. I'll snatch that up right now. Boom. $850. Absolutely incredible. Come on. It always sounds like a snake. Glenn, congratulations, brother. That is absolutely incredible. I celebrate you. Wow, that's what I'm talking about. Like, that should just fire everybody up. You see that? 610. He's got it on at $850. Woo! $250,000. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. All right, here we go. Next question. Oh my gosh, Jeff. Had a guy ghost. He had a guy ghost him. Here it is. Here it is. Oh my gosh, we don't want any ghosting going on. Could have made $50K on it. It was a rental of his. Should I show up to his place? Can you bring that ghost back out here, Mike? I think that it should just be here during this segment. I think just kind of letting everybody know. This is high tech ghost. Here's the deal. Yes. Yeah, Jeff, go to the door. Go to the door. Go to every door. Go to every door that he has. All right? Find him on social media. DM him. and do it respectfully. Don't be like, hey, listen, what's up with this deal? What's up? We had a good conversation, blah, blah, blah. Just be like, hey, I don't want to bug you. I just am trying every means possible to try to get you the offer that we talked about. And I understand if you got other things going on in life, but I'd love to be there when you're ready to make an offer. Okay? Wow, that was scary. That was really a scary ghost that we had there. That was cool. That was I've been waiting for that. We were going to do like a digital version, but this is much scarier. Look at these guys. Wow. Yeah, that's scary. You don't want to sell it a ghost on you. There you go. All right. Thank you, Jeff. Listen, you didn't have to ask the question, but I appreciate it. JVC, come on, player.
Oh, yeah.
Javier's going bananas. Every week he's posting, right? Every week he is going. Oh, he's got the rhinos. Oh, my gosh. Another 15K deal. If you are not squadding up with JVC, you're making a huge mistake. This dude is out there just taking control of his market, getting these deals through. I'm so happy for you. I know you've been putting in a lot of work. It took that momentum, just a little bit about JVC. It took him that momentum, building it up in the beginning and texting and calling, and we were going back and forth, and that momentum hit, and now it's going. Happens every time. This is science. I am telling you. Talk to enough people, you get more, you get enough opportunities for whatever you want to do. Telling you, congratulations. It's proof in the pudding right there. JVC, congratulations. I celebrate you, brother. That is awesome. Carter. All right. Mike's son, my godson's name is Carter. There you go. Great name. Strong. And if that's you on a wave, holy cow. After making an offer and their answer was undecided, how long should I wait to follow up? Well, there's a couple different things there. So you need to find out why they're undecided. See, what happens here, Carter, is you can avoid this by upfront agreements. Okay? Upfront agreements as you are presenting your offer. Okay? First of all, we got to make sure the decision makers are there. We all know that decision makers, all of them on board, the husband, the wife, the siblings, the daughters and sons, whoever, the power of attorney, whoever it is, make sure that you're dealing with the decision maker. And the question is, just go over the pre-qual that you did. We talked about you wanted to sell it by this time, right? Yep. And we agreed that this price would work. Yes. Okay, great. Is there anything stopping you from signing the purchase agreement once I send it over to you? Is there any sticking point? I want to make sure that everything is answered. Everything is taken care of. Everything is going smooth, right? Is there anything stopping you? Nope. Okay, great. And then, obviously, I would like you, if you can, present in person. If you can only do it over the phone, make sure that I would highly suggest that you set up a Zoom meeting with them and go over the agreement with them. Don't just send it and hope and pray, and then all of a sudden they're undecided and they're not answering you. Okay? So, yeah, I would follow up because he's risking this seller ghosting on him. Yeah. So honestly, yeah. So get that upfront agreement, Carter, right? Upfront agreement. Hey, listen, is there anything stopping us from moving forward? If we agreed to when you want to close, we agreed to the price. It sounds like everything's in a line. Anything stopping you? Nope. Great. Boom. There you go. So upfront agreements, Carter. Upfront agreements. That's going to help you to understand, because the beautiful thing is if they say no, I don't, I need to pray on it. I need to think about it. I need to talk to somebody. I need to look at these other offers. Now at least you've got some expectations of what's happening here. And then you could go in so many different ways. Okay. If you're getting multiple offers, how are you going to make the determination? How are you going to make the decision on which one to take? What's important to you? All these other things, you can get more information. The more information you have, the more likely you're going to get that property closed. Nice. Alejandro asks, hi, Brent, how many Driving for Dollars records should I get for a list? As much as possible. I would get 100 of them at least, and then start skip tracing them and start calling them. But I would just keep building that, but get it up to 100 and then start calling. Yeah. Or knocking on the doors, but probably calling. Yeah. And it's not that hard to do. You could do that in a few hours if you're in those older neighborhoods. Nice. Dan Tees 1, if you can't move the property and no one bites, what do you do? Also, how do you go about buyers backdooring you on deals? Well, I don't worry about these things first. All right. I know that the deals that we have are solid deals and we're going to move them. All right. So first, I don't go into it just thinking, but if for some reason we're trying something in a specific area and we're kind of over our skis on price and the seller wants this price, but we like it lower, but we go for it because there might be some potential. Well, first we'll let the seller know, hey, listen, I need some time. I don't want to take this down. I'm going to put it to my network and see if anybody wants it. If not, I'll come back to you and let you know, and we can either cancel the contract or work on a price reduction. So you can set that up in the beginning, or if you locked it up too high, you got to go back and just tell them, I ran the numbers and I made a mistake, and I need to cancel, or I need to reduce the price to here. Okay, so if you can't move a property, typically it's because of the price, but are you doing everything possible to get that deal sold? Cash Buyer Pack and TTP Insider shows you how to get the best 100 buyers in your marketplace. Are you calling all of these agents that are flipping properties? Are you calling people on LinkedIn? Are you reaching out to the administrators on the Facebook groups of these big real estate investment groups? Are you trying to get in front of the people that bid at the foreclosure auctions? Are you Googling wholesale properties and talking to other wholesalers about the price and about what you want to make on those deals? Are you picking up the phone and going, or you just blast into a list that maybe somebody gave you, or maybe you cobbled together over, a dozen or 100 buyers, but you don't know if they're legitimate? So number one, make sure that you're getting on the phone and getting the reactions from actual cash buyers, because you don't want to get a price reduction unless you know you can get it sold, because that'll just piss off the seller double. So talk to them what price would make sense. Get a actual buyer, reverse wholesale it, get the price reduction from the seller, get it done, right? And then how do you go about buyers backdooring you on deals? It is the conversation you have with the property owner. We are committed. We are under contract. If somebody reaches out to you to try to get you to cancel it, that would put you in breach of contract. Okay, they're trying to get you to breach this contract. That would require legal attention, right? And we don't want to go through any of this. We want this to go as smooth as possible, right? Yes. So if anybody approaches you, you tell them to call me. Okay? So it's about setting your seller up for the expectation that, maybe some other people are going to come and pour honey in their ear and try to give them more than you have given them. But tell them to call you on it. All right. And if you think it's a really tricky situation or it's a really big deal, Dan, if it's a really big spread, find a way to close that yourself and don't tell anybody about it. If you're like, oh my gosh, this would be life-changing. I'm going to make $83,500 on this deal. I don't want anything happening here, because this happened to me. And it wasn't even like a crazy thing. We blasted out a property we were making like $103,000 on, and the realtor that was on the list was best friends with the seller. I mean, it turned into just a mess. We had to give him more. We only made 40 instead of 100. It was crazy. So some of those big deals, I say close it and then get it going. I don't care if you need to give up a certain percentage to somebody that you know that can help you close it, or help you at least put the down payment to get the hard money to close it, but just work something out there. You can talk to enough people, network with enough people in your marketplace to be able to squad up and collaborate on those deals. Get it closed. Because the worst is, oh my gosh, I just made 20 hours of calls. I got this one deal. It is huge. It's smoking. This is life-changing. I already feel its effects changing my brain and making me think bigger, making me think of all these opportunities, and giving me the confidence to be able to build this incredible real estate business. And then all of a sudden, boom. Your knees get cut out, and the seller all of a sudden has somebody in there that's really going aggressive at them and making the deal really turbulent, and you don't want to mess with it. You might squeak it through, but it'll be a nightmare and not a good experience, or they might just totally, the seller might just, hey, I don't want to sell, and then, come up with some excuse. So it doesn't happen often, so I don't want you to put it in your brain that will happen. But I would say if it's a big deal, close that deal right now. Keep your mouth shut. Close it, and then make that money. I don't care if you got to pay an extra few grand to get that thing closed. I don't care if you have to pay an extra 10, 15. It's better to keep 60 than to get nothing, right? So, big deals. I like that. And the big deals that we sell to trusted buyers, and we know that'll pay the most for it, and it goes really smooth. Boom. Good question. Norman, hey Brent, when I'm looking for a cash buyer, what should I use to present my deal to these cash buyers? Looking for a kind of presentation. Norman, I just did a video on this a couple weeks ago. I really like what Deal Machine has done with their individual property sites. So as a bonus to that app, you can put that property in there, probably is already in there from your Driving for Dollars, and then you press what is it, disposition, or it grabs it or whatever, and then it creates a site and a link, and you can send that link to your cash buyers. It's phenomenal. I mean, it's really, 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 really great. I don't think that you have to get too crazy with a presentation. I mean, you could jazz it up, but most people are just going to look at the address, the price, right? And they're going to make a determine and what they think the rehab cost is going to be. But if you want to jazz it up, I would use Deal Machine. TTP coupon code if you don't already have it. But Norman, if you're getting deals, you probably already have it. Let's be honest. You probably already have Deal Machine. But if you don't, I would get it and use those links. It's really slick. They did a really good job with that, and it's free. So I love that. I mean, I'm sure there's individual property sites or disposition sites that you can get into as you progress. But if you're just building it up right now, use that Deal Machine. That's awesome. Hey, Brent, lost my first deal worth 30 to 35% in assignment fees. How do I get over the fear of losing another deal, as well as how do I pull through? You know what the best thing, Inspired Nick D, about the past? It stays in the past. It's just there. You're reliving it. You're bringing it. You're letting it live in your head. You know what I mean? You're the one that's giving it power. It's done. It's gone. It's boom. But look at all the potential. You've got unlimited potential to find these opportunities in the future. So stop looking backwards. Leave the past in the past. It's done. Stop reliving it. Stop bringing it to the present day. Stop living in that shadow of it. The best way to do that is just take serious action, brother. I mean, that's how you find it. That's how you get rid of the fear of losing another deal, is just push through. And listen, if you got a $30,000, $35,000 little education there, what do they call that? Not to put it derogatory, Jesse knows, the stupid tax, right?
Well, he's already done it. Just go do it.
Yeah. And oh, by the way, go ahead, Mike, tell him.
No, I mean, he's already done the deal, so he's just got to go do it again.
That's
which
it.
He would have had to do anyway.
Yep. That's it. You've already done it, so you know that you can do it. So build off that confidence. Leave the past in the past, and just go find another deal. As well as how do I pull through, find the right cash buyer. That's just one, you if you need to squad up for these first deals with people that are doing a lot of business, do that, or that have good, reliable cash buyers, do that. Get that first one through, start building those relationships with those cash buyers, and just find somebody that has a good reputation, somebody that's actually closing on these deals. And good ways to find that is realtors that have them listed, right, and are doing those deals either themselves or represent those buyers. Talk to the title company, closing attorneys on who is actually closing deals and who you should be bringing your deals to, and go to the meetup groups and see who are the people that have that clout, who have that kind of aura about them that, everybody's like, yeah, that dude does a lot of deals. Yeah, that dude's that dude. Oh, that gal is that gal. All that. So listen, leave it buried, man. Short-term memory in this business. You're going to have highs, you're going to have lows, but you can only control what you do today. So if you make it the effort that you're going to make $1,000 an hour making calls today, that's what's going to happen. If you make it your effort that you are going to, find an incredible person or follow up with a lead that's going to sign the purchase agreement today, that's what's going to happen. Just keep building on it. You can only control today, brother. So don't worry about the past. That thing's done. Reliving it is no service to you or the community. So that's going to prevent you from making income because you got to be in service to the community to make that income. Great question. I think you helped out a lot of people with that question. I honestly do. You're not the only one, Nick. Not the only one. What tips can you share when calling on probate lists? Geneseo? What is that? Jatensio. There you go. With probates, I go with the same approach. Obviously you want to see who the decision maker is, who's going to be the personal representative in that probate, who's going to be the person that is making the decisions, and just have a conversation with them and see what their plans are, and just position yourself as the person that helps out people in these situations. And if you haven't done a probate deal, find somebody that has done a probate deal in your market, and then you could go confidently say, listen, we work with people in this situation. This is what we specialize in. And then, learn that the first time around, and then boom, you're just going. But it's no different. These are still people that are looking to sell that property quickly with as little problems as possible, little issues as possible. So rock and roll with it. Yeah. It's the same. It's just make sure that you've got the decision maker, and make sure you understand what the timeline is. Because if they're just getting through the courts, if it's just getting through the process and you're giving them a price and they can't make a decision for 120 days, guess what your price just became? Leverage.
If it's an informal probate, isn't it easier to get in touch with the executor of the estate and just deal with them?
Yeah.
Versus if it's a formal, then I think there's more court involvement and it's a little more tricky.
Yep.
Yep.
It just depends on where you're at. States are different. So if it goes to the courts, Muhammad, may I have your contact? Oh, contract. Okay, got it. It is in ttpinsider.com, brother. ttpinsider.com. If you're not joined that, the people that have are jumping to the front of the line on these deals. I'm telling you, ttpinsider.com. We've worked really hard to put together that toolbox and resource, and we keep adding to it. It's bananas. I'm really proud of it. So get in there and get that.
We've got templates for both the purchase contract and the assignment agreement.
Awesome. Yep. That's great. What do we got? 6 minutes. Let's get a couple more in. Flying by. Michael Martinez. Have you ever heard of a title company only allowing you to make 30% of what your purchase price to the seller is for your assignment fee? This is becoming more and more, Michael. Yeah, some of these title companies are saying, hey, we're not going to give you title insurance, or they're trying to restrict you. So obviously work with the people that aren't going to be restricting, or if this becomes commonplace, you're going to have to close in these deals and move on. But, there's plenty of title companies that'll do these deals and not care what you make on it. Yeah. It's really interesting. Yeah. They're starting to crack down and not give title insurance on wholesale deals that are over a certain amount if you make a certain amount. Yeah, they're doing it in California. Yeah. Yeah, it's always California. But you know what? Listen, if you find, listen, the fact is, the negotiations between you and the seller, you and the property owner. So if the property owner's happy with the price and you want to give them that price, if the people facilitating that are like, oh, well, I don't like that you're making that much, or is something going on? Does the seller know everything that's going on? Do they understand this whole process? Can they get more for these I mean, they could have that conversation with the seller. The end result's going to be the same. They want that price and they want to get this thing done. I don't think that there's anybody, I haven't run across anybody, coaching student and or my own business, that doesn't understand that they are selling at a discount to make this a simple process. Everybody knows the Zillow prices on every single deal that we do. I'm telling you. It's not like you're just walking in and people are just like, I bought it for $60,000 30 years ago, so I mean, I guess I'll just take that. That's probably what it's still worth, right? I mean, nobody. I mean, let's don't get it twisted. There you go. Yeah, so Michael, find somebody else and or close on it and just resell it. Interesting. Michael, will you put in what market you're in? What's the odds? What's the odds that he's in California? I heard it's in Texas too. I'll give a 50-50. He's in California or Texas. Michael, where are you from? Put it in here. If he says something like Colorado, I'm going to lose it. 50%. Oh, don't hit the table, Brent. Don't hit the table. All right. We got one more? One more and we'll wrap up here. C-Dub34. Love it. Hey, Brent, when you started out, did you use your personal cell phone number to cold call? Yeah, I did. But remember, this is years. This is like 10 years ago. So technology has gone leaps and bounds. So, yeah, I mean, if you don't have the budget, C-Dub, just make it your phone. And just don't pick up when people are calling you back. But I highly suggest that you get a dialer as soon as possible. And if you use batch dialer, they'll give you a caller ID number that'll work really well. All right. So that comes as part of that service. But if it's just you, then just do you. I mean, if you want to get a free get a Google number or a sideline number or whatever it is, then so you know when people are calling back that they're calling back for real estate. I think that's a smart idea. Yeah, I think so, C-Dub. So yeah, don't overthink it. Just make sure that you're calling and make sure that you're staying consistent. But sideline would be great. Guys, if you have not subscribed and you're getting value out of this, make sure that you subscribe. It's going to make sure that all of this good energy, all of this enthusiasm, all of this instruction gets to you every single day and gives you that boost that you need and that $1,000 an hour. Woo, keep it in your head. Play that game. I'm telling you, when you were broke, all I thought about was not being broke. I'm telling you, right? It's like when you're sick, when you're healthy, you think of a million things. When you're sick, you think of one thing. When you're broke, you think of one thing. You know what I mean? And it's just not being broke. Not to say that health and brokenness are in the same thing. Be healthy out there and go out there and make an impact. $1,000 an hour. You got it. So everybody come on up. Let's close out this show. Thank you for participating. Thank you for joining us. We love you guys so much. And these guys put in a lot of effort and love into this. We got Jesse Pearson. We got Mike Mahoney. We got Alejandra. We've got Daniel, and we've got Matt here, all saying we love you guys. Go out there and constantly talk to people. And you got this. You guys are the best. Go out. Make an impact. See ya. See you next week.